Willow Adams had no intention of masquerading as someone else's girlfriend when she walked into work that morning. Yet there she was, listening to her best friend, Olivia, plead desperately over the phone about a disastrous family wedding situation. "I just need you to be Marcus's +1, Olivia begged. "He's in town for his cousin's wedding and his entire family thinks he's bringing his serious girlfriend. They've been hounding him about settling down for years and he kind of invented someone. And that someone is supposed to be me." Willow balanced her phone against her shoulder as she organized patient files at the veterinary clinic where she worked. "I don't even know him. He's my childhood friend and he's totally normal, I swear. He's seen your Instagram and thinks you'd be perfect. It's just for one weekend and he's willing to pay. Willow nearly dropped the stack of folders. "Like I'm some rent-a-date service. Think of it as compensation for your acting skills. $5,000 for 2 days of pretending, that's more than you make in a month." Willow paused. Her student loans weren't going to pay themselves, and her apartment's rent had just increased. "Fine, send me the details." What Olivia failed to mention was that Marcus wasn't attending the wedding alone. His business partner would be joining them, a detail Willow discovered only when she arrived at the luxury hotel lobby Saturday morning. She spotted a man who matched the description Olivia had given. Tall, sandy-haired, with a friendly smile. He waved her over. "You must be Willow," Marcus said, giving her a quick once-over. "Thank you so much for doing this. My family is intense." "No problem," Willow replied, smoothing down her emerald green dress. "Just brief me on our backstory before I meet them." "We met through Olivia 6 months ago." "You're a veterinary technician who loves animals. I'm completely smitten with you." "Simple enough, right?" Willow nodded, then noticed Marcus glancing over her shoulder. She turned to see a man approaching them, and her breath caught in her throat. He was tall with broad shoulders, dark hair slightly tousled, and piercing blue eyes that seemed to assess everything they landed on. His tailored navy suit probably cost more than her monthly rent. "Willow, this is my business partner, Kieran Kingston," Marcus introduced. "He's attending the wedding, too." Kieran extended his hand, his gaze never leaving hers. "Pleasure to meet you, Willow." His voice was deep, with the slightest hint of an accent she couldn't place. When their hands touched, she felt an unexpected jolt of electricity. "Likewise," she managed to say. "Kieran stepped in to help with a business emergency," Marcus explained. "We're in the middle of a major acquisition, and we might need to step away occasionally to handle calls." "What kind of business are you in?" Willow asked, genuinely curious. "Real estate development," Kieran answered, "though Marcus handles most of the public relations while I focus on strategy and finance." A hotel staff member approached. "Mr. Kingston, your suite is ready. The bellhop has already taken up your luggage." Willow's eyes widened slightly. The way the staff addressed Kieran suggested he was someone important. "We should head up and get settled before the rehearsal dinner tonight," Marcus suggested. As they rode the elevator, Willow tried not to stare at Kieran, who was typing something on his phone. There was something magnetic about him, an intensity she found both intimidating and intriguing. "So, Willow," Kieran said suddenly, putting his phone away. "How did you get roped into this charade?" She blinked, surprised by his directness. Olivia can be very persuasive. "And the $5,000 had nothing to do with it." His tone wasn't judgmental, merely curious. "Kieran," Marcus warned. "No, it's okay," Willow said. "Yes, the money helped convince me. I have student loans and bills like everyone else." Kieran studied her face, honesty refreshing. A small smile played at the corners of his mouth, transforming his serious expression into something warmer. The elevator doors opened to reveal a luxurious hallway. Marcus led them to a door and swiped a key card. "Willow, you and I will be staying here. Kieran has the suite next door." The suite was practically an apartment with a spacious living area, 2 bedrooms and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "This is..." "Wow," Willow breathed. "Too much?" Marcus asked. "My family expects a certain lifestyle. It's fine," she assured him. "Just different from what I'm used to." "The rehearsal dinner starts at 7, Kieran said. "I'll come by at 6:30 to head down together." After he left, Marcus showed Willow to her bedroom. "Sorry about Kieran. He can be blunt, but he's brilliant." built his company from scratch and turned it into a billion-dollar enterprise by 35 billion. Willow's eyes widened. I thought you were business partners. We are, on certain projects. His main company, Kingston Developments, is entirely his. I run a smaller firm that occasionally collaborates with his. Willow sat on the edge of the bed, processing this information. So he's not just wealthy, he's one of the richest men in the country. Yes, Marcus grinned. Don't let it intimidate you. Beneath all that success, he's just a guy who works too much and rarely takes time for anything else. Several hours later, after Willow had unpacked and rested, a knock came at the suite door. Marcus was still getting ready, so she answered it. Kieran stood there in a perfectly tailored black suit, looking like he'd stepped out of a luxury magazine. You look beautiful, he said, his eyes taking in her deep blue cocktail dress. Thank you, Willow replied, feeling suddenly self-conscious. She'd chosen the dress carefully, wanting to look appropriate for a wealthy family gathering, but now wondered if it was enough. Stop second-guessing yourself, Kieran said, as if reading her mind. You look perfect. Marcus emerged from his room, adjusting his cufflinks. Ready to face the Inquisition, the rehearsal dinner was held in a private dining room at the hotel's Michelin-starred restaurant. As they entered, Willow felt dozens of eyes turned toward them. Marcus, a middle-aged woman rushed over. Finally, and this must be Willow. Mom, this is Willow Adams, Marcus said. Willow, my mother, Patricia. Patricia embraced Willow warmly. We've heard so much about you. Well, not enough, actually. Marcus is so secretive. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Thompson, Willow smiled. And Kieran, always good to see you. Patricia gave him a hug as well. Still working my son too hard. If anything, it's the opposite, Kieran replied smoothly. Throughout dinner, Willow navigated questions about her relationship with Marcus, creating a believable narrative while trying not to embellish too much. She found herself seated between Marcus and Kieran, with the latter occasionally jumping in to steer conversations away from her when family members became too probing. So how serious is this relationship? Marcus's aunt asked pointedly. We've never heard Marcus mention anyone before, and suddenly he brings a gorgeous girlfriend to Sarah's wedding. Willow felt Kieran stiffen beside her. We're taking things at our own pace, she answered diplomatically, but I'm very happy with where we are. Under the table, she felt Kieran's leg brush against hers. When she glanced at him, his expression was unreadable. As dessert was served, Marcus excused himself to take a call. His mother sighed. Always working, just like his father. The deal we're finalizing is time-sensitive, Kieran explained, but I've made sure he'll be fully present for tomorrow's ceremony. When Marcus didn't return after 15 minutes, Willow began to feel awkward sitting alone with his family. Dance with me, Kieran said suddenly, noticing her discomfort. He nodded toward the small band playing in the corner. Before she could respond, he stood and offered his hand. Several family members smiled approvingly. On the small dance floor, Kieran placed one hand respectfully on her waist while holding her other hand. Thank you, Willow said quietly. It was getting uncomfortable. You're doing well, he replied. They believe you're in love with him. That's the idea, isn't it? His blue eyes studied her face. Is it difficult to pretend? Not as much as I expected. Marcus is nice. She paused. Why aren't you the one with a fake girlfriend? I'm sure you get the same questions about settling down. A shadow crossed his face. I avoid family gatherings when possible. Work provides a convenient excuse. All work and no play, something like that. His hand tightened slightly on her waist as he guided her through a turn. Though occasionally there are unexpected pleasures, the way he looked at her made Willow's heart rate accelerate. This was dangerous territory. She was supposed to be Marcus's girlfriend, not developing an attraction to his intimidatingly successful business partner. When Marcus finally returned, looking stressed, Kieran smoothly transitioned Willow back to him before excusing himself to make his own calls. Everything okay? She asked Marcus. Deal complications. Nothing Kieran can't handle, he sighed. You're amazing, by the way. My family is completely convinced. Next morning, Willow woke to find Marcus already dressed and on his laptop. Morning, he said. Sorry, but we have a situation. The seller is threatening to back out unless we increase our offer by 15%. Is that a lot? About $30 million, so yes. He ran a hand through his hair. Kieran and I need to have an emergency meeting with our lawyers. The ceremony isn't until 4, but... You need to go now, Willow finished for him. It's fine, I can entertain myself. Actually, he looked uncomfortable. Some of my family is having brunch downstairs. They're expecting both of us. Willow's stomach sank. I can't go alone. They'll ask questions I don't know how to answer. Marcus checked his watch. Let me call Kieran. 10 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. Kieran entered, dressed in casual designer jeans and a light blue button-down that made his eyes even more striking. Change of plans, he announced. Marcus, you go meet with the lawyers. I've already briefed them. I'll accompany Willow to brunch and make excuses for your absence. You don't have to do that, Willow protested. It's fine, Kieran said, his expression softening when he looked at her. I can spare a few hours. After Marcus left, Willow grabbed her purse. You really don't need to babysit me. Is that what you think I'm doing? Kieran asked, holding the door for her. Aren't you? Taking one for the team so Marcus can handle business. As they waited for the elevator, Kieran turned to her. Perhaps I wanted to spend time with you without the pretense of you being someone else's girlfriend. Willow's breath caught. That would be inappropriate. Many successful ventures begin with inappropriate ideas, he replied as they stepped into the elevator. The brunch was in the hotel's garden restaurant. Patricia waved them over to a large table where several family members were already seated. Where's Marcus? She asked immediately. Work emergency, Kieran explained smoothly. He sends his apologies and promises to be back for the ceremony. That boy, Patricia sighed. Willow, dear, I hope he doesn't neglect you like this often. Marcus is very dedicated, Willow replied carefully. I admire his work ethic. A diplomatic answer, Kieran murmured, just loud enough for her to hear. Throughout brunch, Willow found herself genuinely enjoying Kieran's company. Behind his serious exterior was a sharp wit and an attentive listener. He asked her questions about her work as a veterinary technician, showing real interest in her answers. I've always loved animals, she explained. Even the difficult ones, sometimes especially the difficult ones. Is that why you agreed to this arrangement with Marcus? Kieran asked quietly while the others were distracted by wedding talk. You like challenging cases, Willow laughed. Marcus isn't difficult. And honestly, I needed the money. What would you do if money weren't an issue? His question seemed casual, but his eyes were intense. Willow considered this. I'd finished veterinary school. I started but had to pause when my mom got sick. By the time she recovered, I'd used up my savings for her treatments. Something flickered in Kieran's expression. That's admirable. It was necessary, she corrected. She's my mom. After brunch, instead of returning to the suite, Kieran suggested they walk through the hotel's gardens. I should probably get ready for the wedding, Willow hesitated. It's only noon. The ceremony isn't until 4. He offered his arm. Unless you require 4 hours to transform, she smiled despite herself, when you put it that way. The gardens were immaculately landscaped, with stone pathways winding between flower beds and fountains. So how does someone become a billionaire before 40? Willow asked as they walked. Luck, timing, and an unhealthy disregard for work-life balance, Kieran answered. I saw an opportunity in sustainable urban development when everyone else was still focused on sprawling suburban communities. And now I have more money than I could spend in several lifetimes and very little time to enjoy any of it. He glanced at her. What about you? What does Willow Adams do for fun when she's not pretending to be in love with strangers? I read. Hike when I can get away from the city, volunteer at animal shelters, she shrugged. Nothing very exciting. It sounds perfect, Kieran said softly. They found a bench near a koi pond and sat down. For a moment, neither spoke, watching the colorful fish swim lazily beneath lily pads. Why are you really here, Kieran? Willow finally asked. At this wedding, I mean, business can be handled remotely these days. He studied her face before answering. Marcus asked for my support. His family can be overwhelming, and he thought having me here would buffer things. Like having me here buffers their questions about his love life, exactly like that. Kieran's smile was slow and genuine. We all wear masks sometimes, Willow. What mask are you wearing? She asked boldly. Instead of answering, Kieran reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, his fingers lingering against her cheek. Perhaps being here is helping me take one off. The moment was broken by Kieran's phone ringing. He checked it and frowned. Marcus, I should take this. While he spoke quietly into his phone, Willow tried to gather her thoughts. She was attracted to Kieran powerfully, unexpectedly attracted. But she was here under false pretenses, being paid to play a role. Getting involved with him would complicate everything. Kieran ended the call and turned to her, his expression now all business. We need to head back. There's been a development with the deal. As they walked back to the hotel, the easy intimacy they'd shared seemed to evaporate, replaced by a professional distance that left Willow feeling oddly bereft. Back in Marcus's suite, they found him pacing, still on a call. He gestured for them to wait. Yes, Mr. Harrington, I understand your concerns, he was saying. But our offer is fair market value. Yes, Kieran Kingston is personally overseeing the project. I understand. Yes, he's right here. He handed the phone to Kieran, who took it and immediately transformed, his voice becoming authoritative. Harold. Yes, it's Kieran. No, I don't think you understand. We're not increasing our offer because your property isn't worth what you're asking. I see. He listened for a moment, then smiled coldly. Let me be clear. You have 2 hours to accept our original offer or we walk away and develop the adjacent property instead. Your choice. He ended the call and handed the phone back to Marcus. He'll accept. How can you be sure? Marcus asked. Because he has no other options and he knows it. Kieran checked his watch. We should start getting ready for the wedding. Willow felt like she'd witnessed a transformation. The man who'd walked with her in the garden, who'd looked at her with such warmth, had become someone else entirely calculating, cold, intimidating. I'll see you both at the ceremony, Kieran said, nodding to them both before leaving. Once he was gone, Willow turned to Marcus. Is he always like that with business? Like what? Terrifyingly effective, Marcus laughed. Yes, it's why he's worth billions and I'm only worth millions. He sees the whole chessboard while the rest of us are still setting up our pieces. Willow began preparing for the wedding, but her thoughts kept returning to Kieran. The man was a contradiction, warm one moment, icy the next, which was the real Kieran Kingston. The wedding ceremony was beautiful, held in the hotel's glass-enclosed pavilion overlooking the city skyline. Willow sat between Marcus and Kieran in one of the front rows, acutely aware of Kieran beside her. During the vows, when the bride and groom spoke of finding unexpected love, Kieran's hand brushed against hers on the armrest they shared. She wasn't sure if it was intentional until his pinky finger hooked around hers, hidden from view, her heart hammered in her chest, but she didn't pull away. At the reception, Willow played her role perfectly, dancing with Marcus and charming his family. But her eyes kept finding Kieran, who watched her from across the room with an intensity that made her skin tingle. During dinner, Marcus received yet another call and stepped away. Kieran immediately moved to the empty seat beside her. You look stunning, he said simply. Thank you. She took a sip of champagne. Did your seller accept the offer? Of course, he smiled. Business as usual, and is this business as usual too? She gestured between them. Whatever this is. Kieran's expression grew serious. No, this is unprecedented. Before he could elaborate, Marcus returned, looking triumphant. Deal closed, Kieran, they accepted everything, even the contingencies. Excellent. Kieran stood, squeezing Willow's shoulder briefly before returning to his seat. Later, as the party was winding down, Marcus pulled Willow aside. I need to talk to you about something. His tone made her nervous. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. It's just... He glanced around to ensure they weren't overheard. I've seen how you and Kieran look at each other. Willow felt her cheeks flush. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. Marcus smiled kindly. I've known Kieran for years and I've never seen him like this. He's interested in you, Willow, really interested. I'm supposed to be your girlfriend, remember? That's what you're paying me for. About that. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. I may have had an ulterior motive in bringing you here. Willow frowned. What are you talking about? Kieran hasn't taken a vacation in 3 years. He works constantly, pushes everyone away. I thought bringing him to this wedding might remind him there's more to life. So you brought me as what, a distraction for him? Not exactly, Marcus sighed. I just thought he might meet someone here who could make him see beyond work. I never imagined it would be you. Willow felt manipulated. You used me. I'm sorry. But I can see something real happening between you two, and I don't want our arrangement to stand in the way. He pulled an envelope from his jacket. Here's the money we agreed upon. As far as I'm concerned, you've fulfilled your obligation. What happens next is up to you. She took the envelope, unsure what to think. Does Kieran know about this? No, and he doesn't need to. Marcus squeezed her shoulder. Just follow your heart, Willow. After Marcus left to mingle with his family, Willow stepped outside onto the terrace, needing air and space to think. Running away, Kieran's voice came from behind her. She turned to find him watching her, his expression guarded. Just needed some air. He moved to stand beside her, both of them looking out at the city lights. Did Marcus tell you our deal closed successfully? He did. Congratulations. It's a significant project. Urban renewal with affordable housing components, the kind of development that changes communities. Willow looked at him curiously. You care about that, the community impact, of course. His brow furrowed. What did you think I cared about? I don't know. Profit margins, adding to your billions. Kieran's laugh was surprised and genuine. Money is simply a tool, Willow. What matters is what you build with it. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment before he spoke again. I know why you're here, he said quietly. Marcus told me about your arrangement. Willow's stomach dropped. He told you when? Last week, when he asked me to attend the wedding with him. Kieran turned to face her fully. He thought I'd disapprove. And did you? Initially, yes. His eyes held hers. But then I met you, and I understood why he was so desperate to convince his family he'd found someone special. Willow's mind raced. If you knew all along, why didn't you say anything? Because I wanted to know the real Willow Adams, not the woman playing a part. He took a step closer. And what I discovered was far more fascinating than I anticipated. Her heart thundered in her chest. Kieran, I want to see you again, he interrupted. Not as Marcus's pretend girlfriend, not as part of any arrangement, just you and me. You live in a different world than I do, Willow said softly. Perhaps, but worlds can collide in beautiful ways. He reached for her hand. Have dinner with me tomorrow night. No pretending, no roles, just us. The intensity in his eyes made it difficult to breathe. What if it doesn't work out? I'm a veterinary technician with student loans. You're a billionaire who closes multi-million-dollar deals over breakfast. Then we'll have had one honest dinner together. His thumb stroked over her knuckles, but I suspect it will be the first of many. Before she could respond, the terrace door opened and wedding guests spilled out. The moment of privacy was gone. Think about it, Kieran said, releasing her hand. For the remainder of the evening, Willow maintained her role as Marcus's girlfriend, but her thoughts were consumed by Kieran's proposition. When the reception finally ended, the three of them returned to their rooms in comfortable silence. At her door, Marcus kissed her cheek. Thank you for everything, Willow. My family loved you. It was my pleasure, she replied honestly. After Marcus entered their suite, Kieran lingered in the hallway. Have you thought about dinner tomorrow? Willow looked at him, really looked at him. Beyond the wealth and power was a man who had shown her kindness, intelligence, and glimpses of vulnerability. Yes, she answered simply, and I'd like that very much. His smile transformed his face. Good, because I already made reservations. The next evening, Kieran took her to a small, exclusive restaurant overlooking the city. Their conversation flowed naturally, touching on everything from their childhoods to their dreams for the future. I never planned to be wealthy, Kieran admitted. I just wanted to build something meaningful. And have you? Willow asked. He considered this. Parts of it, the developments, yes, but there are other areas where I've neglected to build anything at all, like personal relationships, precisely. His eyes held hers, until now. After dinner, they walked along the riverfront, and Kieran told her about his newest project, a mixed-use development that would include a veterinary hospital and animal sanctuary. You could run it, he suggested. After you finish veterinary school, of course. Willow stopped walking. What? Too presumptuous. He looked genuinely concerned. A little, she laughed. We've had one real date, Kieran, true, but I've never been particularly patient. He took her hands in his. Willow, I know this is fast, but I haven't felt this way about anyone before. When I'm with you, I see possibilities I never considered. Like what? Like balance, purpose beyond work, a future shared instead of conquered. He stepped closer. I'd like to see where this goes, no expectations, no timelines, just us discovering each other. Willow studied his face, searching for any sign of insincerity and finding none. I'd like that too. When he kissed her, it felt nothing like pretending. 6 months later, Willow sat in a lecture hall, reviewing notes before her veterinary school exam. Her phone buzzed with a text from Kieran. Dinner tonight to celebrate your return to school. The scholarship committee was impressed with your application. She smiled, typing back, dinner sounds perfect, and thank you again for connecting me with them. What she didn't mention was that she knew the truth that Kieran had personally funded the Kingston Future Veterinarian Scholarship specifically to help students like her who had interrupted their education due to family obligations. She had discovered this only by accident, overhearing a conversation between Kieran and the dean. When confronted, Kieran had admitted it but insisted the scholarship was merit-based and she had earned it. I just made sure opportunities existed, he'd explained. You did the hard work. Their relationship had progressed naturally over the months. Kieran had integrated her into his life, valuing her perspective on his projects and sharing both his successes and challenges. She had introduced him to the simple pleasures she enjoyed: hiking trails, animal shelter volunteer days, and quiet evenings at home. To her surprise, the billionaire who once existed solely for his work had discovered joy in balance. As Willow packed up her books, another text came through. I love you, and I have a question to ask you tonight. Her heart skipped a beat. She had a feeling she knew what that question might be, and her answer was already formed in her mind. 1 year after Marcus's cousin's wedding, Willow and Kieran returned to the same hotel. This time, they weren't pretending anything. As Kieran slid the platinum band onto her finger in front of their gathered loved ones, including a beaming Marcus, Willow marveled at how a weekend of pretense had led to the most authentic relationship of her life. I agreed to be someone's fake date, she whispered to Kieran during their first dance as husband and wife. I never expected to find real love. Sometimes, he replied, holding her close, the most valuable things come from the most unexpected arrangements. And as he kissed her, Willow knew that no matter how their story had begun, their ending would be entirely their own, built on truth, strengthened by understanding, and enriched by a love neither had been looking for but both had been waiting to find.